So in this session we are going to learn with the Spring Data JPA. So we have the other modules to integrate with the database called as Spring JDBC, Spring ORM. But still like we are going to connect with the database, but using with the Spring Data JPA, we are going to get all the features of Spring application. So it supports integration with Hibernate and also JPA persistence layers. It provides with the persistence feature, transaction management features, and query retrieval operations. All the benefits of Spring we can get into our Spring Data JPA, like a quicker persistence configuration can be done, entity manager management can be done, easy to test the Spring Data JPA applications, and most of the exceptions can be handled implicitly, and transaction management can be performed automatically. So here is first of all we will be looking up into the data source details. Like in our application we will configure with the data source properties like spring.datasource.url, username and password. Certain properties are related to only data source configuration. And further we will be using with the like how do we create with the persistence unit, and how do we configure with the DAO repositories, and then we also perform with transaction management. So in previous versions of Spring, we used to write all the data source properties into XML file. But now we will be adding those data source properties into our Spring Boot application within application.properties file itself. And next is here there are multiple vendors available in the market for the implementation of entity framework. There are multiple JPA vendors are available like Hibernate, Ebatis, Cocobase, Castor, Toplink, out of which Hibernate is the most popular one. And these entity manager factories are basically classified as two types. One is application managed entity factory bean, and one more is container managed entity factory bean. So especially these names of these factory bean classes like local entity manager factory bean and a local container entity manager factory bean, these names are helpful for your MCQ based preparation, assessment preparation. This is the two types of factory beans we'll be using into our Spring Data JPA applications. And here along with our data source properties, we need also vendor related certain other properties called dialect, and some other features called show SQL property and HVM to DDL property. Those properties we will be configuring into persistence.xml file in a core application. But coming to Spring Boot application, we will write those properties also as part of application.properties file. So we are writing the dialect name here, and we write a property called HVM to DDL auto as update and show SQL as true. Further, any more other properties are needed, we can configure as part of application.properties file. Once this configuration is done, if at all if you wanted to maintain a transaction management for your application, you're going to perform with create, read, update, delete operations. You wanted to maintain with the transaction management, like you wanted to maintain isolation features for your application, propagation features for your application, rollback feature for your application, timeout feature for your application transaction, you have to add with the transaction manager. So JPA also supports JPA transaction manager. You can just add into your resources. Then like to load with an entity manager and entity manager factory into JPA applications, we'll be using with the special annotations called at persistence unit and at persistence context. This is not integrated with the Spring Data JPA, right? It is a plain JPA application. But when you are integrating with Spring Data JPA, you will be just directly writing with the JPA repository. You don't need to add with any of the entity manager, factory bean or entity manager is not required at all. But what all the annotations are needed to inject your persistence context into your application and persistence unit into your application, you can observe the type of annotations we use. And here is in a traditional Spring Data JPA application, like what all the different components we use with, you need to observe here. Like definitely we will have a controller, then controller will invoke your service, service will invoke your repository. That will be connecting to the database. In a similar fashion, now in Spring Data JPA, earlier you need to implement this repository. Means you have to write your custom methods. For example, if you look into the product application, means here if you can see product application, we are writing our own implementation for DAO. Means you are writing all these methods, right? Delete product, save product, update product, get all products. You are writing the implementation. But coming to Spring Data JPA, the advantage is, okay, you don't need to implement this repository. This is taken care by your Spring Data JPA. Means the class is called as JPA repository. This is a JPA repository is giving you an abstract layer for your database operations. And here there is another new component which you have already come across into entity framework, like that is JPA framework. Every class you represent in the table as a relation should be annotated with @entity. That particular class is called as entities. Nothing but it is a representation of a table data. Primary key column should be given @id and other column should be provided with @column. And there are certain other annotations we have called like generated type, and what is the generated value you wanted to give for primary key. So such annotations can be added into your entity classes. That's all about Spring Data JPA. So we are already looking into one of the example called ticket booking system. So in the ticket booking system, we have got a Spring Boot application where this is to start your application. And coming to the layers, what we have is first is a controller layer to perform with all the operations, get operation for single ticket details to display all tickets, and also to update a ticket, okay, put mapping, to delete a ticket, delete mapping, to add a ticket for post mapping. That is a part of controller. Then is we have a DAO here. Controller will first invoke your service, not the service IMPL directly. So service is an interface with all the CRUD operations, and IMPL is an implementation of your service interface, which will invoke your DAO every time and will invoke all the methods required to perform, like find, read, update, delete, those operations. So the implementation into DAO is very simple, like we don't need to write any customized methods unless until some customization is needed in our query. So we basic all operations, save operation, delete operation, update operation, get operation, we can do with JPA repository predefined methods. That is an advantage of JPA repository. You don't need to write any implementation here. Suppose if you need any customization, then only we will write with a new method, custom method, and you need to write your query, okay, in your required logic. And always we know that there's a model class which is going to be an entity class which resembles your table data. What is a table name and what all the primary key values and other key columns for your table. The minimal configuration is needed with your Spring Boot REST Data JPA, database source properties and JPA tool properties. And we need a required dependencies for our application. The required dependencies is, apart from your Spring Boot starter parent, you need an additional dependency called Spring Boot Starter Data JPA. Web as usual we need. And one more database related dependency is you have to use with the Postgres. So the Postgres dependency depends on the version what you have installed in your system. Okay, it could be like more advanced version according to the version what you installed in your system. Once this is done, you can run with your ticket booking application and you can test with all the operations. Just I am going to run this application. and this is going to run on the port number in my system is 8085. Yes. No problem, I will be sharing video. Yeah, that's what I am sharing the video. Video will record everything in a synchronized manner because it is recorded in my system, right? So get all tickets. It is going to display with all the records which are available in the ticket database. Those who are running first time this application in your system, you may not have the data present in your table. So try to add one or two records from the backend. Then you try to run with the get request. Further, to add a new ticket details, go for a post request, and here the URL is create ticket, and the data you need to add is go to the body and JSON type you select here and give your ticket ID to be added with. I wanted to give 126 Sindhu 126 as a passenger name, and the Gmail email is not, it's a unique type, so try to give a different email and then send the request. So one more record is added here. Any updation is needed, go for a put request, and for update you just check with the URL. Okay, the URL for post put request is, you need to give your update ticket by ID. First you will give your email and then you give a ticket ID. So update ticket by ID. The put request, first is you need to give an email. Email is sindhu126@gmail.com /ticket /your ticket ID 126, right? And now you wanted to modify this, do some changes. Internal server error message. You need to check at the console what is error it is showing. Update email by ID, there is an error, no such element present. Okay, so you need to check for the available values. Based on that you need to perform with the first you get all the requests, get all tickets, whether it is available or not you check. Okay, here for Sindhu 126 the ticket ID is, it is showing 22. So you need to give accordingly the ID. Yeah, sure. I will stop the sharing and then I will share again. Just I am running that ticket booking app. So you can run with the next request by ID 22. So it is going to show you that particular record. And for delete operation, go for a delete request and give 22. Method not allowed. It means you need to check with the URL. For a delete request, what is the URL you need to give? Okay, first here you need to give the URL called. If it is not matching, it will give an error. Okay, delete ticket by ID, ticket by 22. Okay, it got deleted, true. That is how you can perform with all the operations. So in the plain browser, you can check only with the get request. You can't check with the post, put and delete request. That's the reason we are checking with the Postman plugin.